Welcome to Yes We Can Write Lesson Plans. I'm Deborah Sickler-Voigt. This overview and video series explain how to write visual art lesson plans. They are part of our journey to thrive and succeed as quality educators. They can be applied to all subjects and are modeled on exemplars presented in the textbook, Teaching and Learning in Art Education. Let's get started. What is a lesson plan? A lesson plan documents and explains how teachers propose to teach students a task, concept, process, or big idea. When first beginning to write lesson plans, many educators ask themselves, how do I begin? One way to start is with backwards design. Think about your lesson's end goals. What do you want students to achieve? Think about your lesson plan's inspirations. These can include artistic concepts, such as working with design skills or art media, artistic behaviors, such as working through problem-solving methods or art techniques that artists use. You might also use social ethics themes that teach children about being good citizens, or include STEAM lessons, multidisciplinary studies through art. What are the parts of a lesson plan? The model that we're going to use today has a title, grade level, class sessions, materials, instructional resources, academic vocabulary, a big idea, essential questions, a rationale, objectives, learning targets, procedures, assessment, standards, and references. And we want all of these parts to come together so that your lesson plan is unified. That means all parts belong together and nothing needs to be added or taken away. This tutorial includes content from the model lesson plan, Marionettes, and the story of our community. Its big idea is our local community. A big idea is a broad topic students study in depth. Its essential question is, what is the nature of our community? Essential questions are broad-based questions that guide students as they attain knowledge about enduring understandings. Our lessons require materials and instructional resources. Materials include supplies such as paper, paint, glue, and pencils. Instructional resources consist of teaching supplies such as books, handouts, presentations, and written artist narrative, such as Teaching and Learning in Art Education's Artist Lessons to Thrive feature on Vinoy Streeter. Quality lessons teach students academic vocabulary. In the visual arts, we regularly include the elements of art and design in our lessons, as well as other relevant vocabulary about subject matter. A rationale is a written statement in paragraph form, usually 100 words or more, that explains the value of a lesson in students' education. Our rationales relate to children's development. We make sure they are age appropriate. We provide brief contextual information, meaning we tell stories about pertinent subject matter such as artists, big ideas, art processes, and more. Our rationales include essential questions for students to ponder lessons' meanings in depth. Objectives are clear, measurable student behaviors that identify learning goals and expectations. Our objectives consist of the following parts: the student will, measurable student behaviors, a stimulus or stimuli such as materials and instructional resources, and the criteria that clearly identify the outcomes students are expected to attain. Let's take a look at two different objectives. The student will work in a small group to create an original marionette using found objects that has a moving head, arms, and legs, and demonstrates a strong sense of unity, balance, and craftspersonship. A second objective for this lesson plan is The students will utilize his, her, their marionette to perform a 1 or 2 minute show that focuses on the big idea, local community. Daily learning targets identify the short-term tasks that students are to achieve. We write daily learning targets in the form of I can statements in developmentally appropriate student language that is broken down and/or unpacked from objectives. As an artist, I can create a marionette. Students can follow that. I can create a marionette with found objects that has a moving head, arms, and legs. So that's one example of learning targets. Another one is, I can design a marionette that demonstrates unity, balance, and craftspersonship. I can present a marionette show. I can use my group's marionettes and set design to produce a 1 to 2 minute show that focuses on the big idea, local community. Procedures identify the steps we determine to be necessary for students to complete a lesson so that they can reach learning targets and class objectives. They include teacher and student actions. Procedures have different components. One is the set, how we begin a lesson. Instructional strategies mean what we're doing as teachers to teach the lesson. Group learning includes the tasks students will do together. Independent practice discusses what students will do individually. We understand that all children are unique and therefore make accommodations to our lessons so that students can reach learning targets. Closure identifies how we will conclude our lessons. Standards signify the learning outcomes we expect students to achieve. School districts, states, and nations develop standards to guide student learning expectations by grade level. Standards' open-ended format offer educators opportunities to bring in our personal ideas, expertise, and interpretations in designing the curriculum. The National Visual Arts Standards Framework focuses on student actions including creating, presenting, responding, and connecting. Assessment measures anticipated and unanticipated student learning outcomes, appraises the expressive outcomes that result from participation in the choice-based art curriculum, and directs teaching and learning practices. Our lessons often include multiple forms of assessment. For example, we use informal and formative assessments to check for student understanding and apply formal summative assessment to assign grades. References inform others where we secured information and inspirations for our lesson plans. Our journey to thrive and succeed continues as we put this information to use and build on our existing knowledge. We can learn more information on how to develop pre-K through 12th grade lessons and assessments in the textbook Teaching and Learning in Art Education. Thanks so much for participating in this tutorial.